Time to start the day. Strawberry. Let's get some slides on. Berry. Slightly rainy today. There's the tree that I was talking about. You can see the burn marks still, and it went all the way up, but they cut it in half. You can see the cut mark there. And this, you can see that first wooden deck, it ended up getting termites, and it was getting rained on. So now I switched it to a smaller deck. I built this smaller deck with outside wood, so no rotting can happen there. And you see my ramp, it goes perfectly with the rest of everything. This is the middle of the shops now. You can see we just have some herbs as well as wheat grass for the grains to make flour. Some peppermint and some rosemary, some sage in here somewhere. More peppermint, spearmint. This is the back of the studio now. Have some cactus, some onions, some red onions. That right there, this is just like a soil pile where I grab soil to make new plants. More rosemary. Gotta have herbage. Those are the PVC pipe things. I only have catnip at the tops, and it's actually looking a little sad. I just added another center block under each of those because the flowers were like overflowing, so I did that to straighten the flowers up a little bit. Yeah, this, you can see, this is a studio now. America, gotta have the flag, represent. This is some more of the grass, the wheat grass, and this is tomato plant. We got one, that's it. And then these freaking stupid grasshoppers. Dude, these things are like everywhere. Go! Yeah. Okay. Oh, let's see what we got. These are bell peppers, but we don't got anything yet. And we got jalapeno. And some good old freaking banana peppers. Let's grab this. Holy crap, look at that thing. What? Alright. There for now. Yeah, okay, so let's flip the lights. And you can see how different the studio looks now. you know, all your whatnots and who have yous. These are personal slides. And my sandblasting friend did that for me. RDW glass. Also, oh yeah, he sandblasted this for me. Pretty freaking wicked. Gotta have some cool stuff here and there. Gotta have a map. I like geography, but I get forgetful sometimes, so this helps. Oh, there's been a bird making a nest right up here. It's a beautiful thing. Here, look. Oh, it doesn't want to focus. Oh, anyways. He's starting a little nest up there. It's super cute. Okay. Got the tools over here now. Alright, yeah, this table is now like my shipping table, but also like a resin table, because you see right there, I was using the resin. I created this base for this piece. I'm going to do like a layer underneath too, but I made this piece the other day, and then I just finished the base for it like 2 days ago. So now I gotta, so you see, this is my contraption. This out. So, this, you know, I'm an artist, but also an inventor, because I see things, and then, like, I see a bunch of pieces together, like where somebody sees just a bunch of pieces on the ground, I see things that come together, which is what artists are. So I'm sure most of you watching this, you understand what I mean. You can look at this, just a rod of color, and see, oh, you know what, I see a pumpkin. Like, that's an artist. Like, a normal person would look at these and just see 2 orange rods. But artists can look at something and see something different. And that's why we're crazy. Yep. So, like, the other day when I made that leaf pendant, I was looking at the colors. I saw green and I saw a leaf. So that's why we made a leaf. I needed these pieces to stand straight up in the resin bases. I use these because these are what's used to make a little tray, like an ashtray. But I realized that's the same exact size as the standard tube base. Like, it's the exact same size as the standard tube base. I filled this tube up with Orbeez because I never use it. So it's got Orbeez all in it. Alright, so in this is what I used to make my bases. So I would do this, you know, and then I'd put the piece in it. But you saw that. It's not sturdy always. Like, you can get it sturdy, but still, like, imagine if something comes in here and knocks it down once you have all the resin already poured into the thing. So what I did was I saw a box, or I started thinking about my problem, and I thought about how to solve it with the stuff around. I seen a box, and I said, okay, well, if I cut a hole in the box, like a slit back and forth, then I can put the tube, right through there, see? And then it allows it to sit sturdy. And then I did that, and then I said, oh man, I can't see what's going on inside the thing, and that was bothering me, that I couldn't see what was going on inside the box. So then I cut this whole thing in. And now I can see right in there. So when I go like this, and I set, oh wait, let's get over here. So when I go like this, I can see exactly where the piece is sitting. And now I know that it's sturdy. And I got my little level over here too, so you go like, oh, okay, that's perfectly level there. You do this way, and you say, oh sweet, it's level both ways. And of course you would have poured the resin in there, and then put this in there. And as you see, we're gonna put that back over there momentarily. As I'm sure you see, let's get this out of here for now. I'm probably gonna do that piece later. As you see, there's a PVC pipe on the side here. and it's actually coming off with the tape. But so I gotta retape that in a second. But the point of that is what I was saying, how I do a layer underneath, because now you have this dish. So what I do is I pour more resin in the dish, and to do that you need the piece upside down. So you can either do it opposite in this, but when you do that, the joint piece messes it up. You see it sideways. So I use the PVC pipe like that, and it sits flat. See? So that is how I do that. Trailing, I'll just go right into that. Yeah, that's. Whoa, got a glass on the floor for some reason. Some stuff. Yeah. So you remember seeing my, like, what the original head on looked like, and now, like I was saying, this thing is filled with stickers. Slow it down or like pause it, that way you can look at any specific ones. Minecraft. Ooh, I've been on a Minecraft kick lately. I don't know if anybody's seen the movie, but like probably like a year ago or so, I just got into a huge Minecraft kick, and I've been playing it for a good minute. Now there's a movie. Pretty cool. Got the joint holders here. This is how my colors are set up now, and I've been running my colors down, trying to. I got in this habit of like buying a bunch of color and then just having a bunch of random colors, versus like buying the colors that I use, and like, so I was spending money on a lot of color and I wasn't using all the color. So my idea was stop spending money on color for a minute, use a lot to almost all of what you have, and then inventory up on the things that you actually need. Because for a while, when you're starting glass blowing, you'll be testing colors and seeing what stuff you like most, and once you tune in on what you like most, you'll end up being left over with a bunch of the colors that you used to work with. So that's what I've been doing, is burning through a lot of the colors that I used to work with, and then, like I said, I'm gonna go do a big order and get an inventory of all the stuff that I like using. So yeah, I keep hearing that bird. He's going crazy up there. Yeah, you can see proper electrical hookups now, which is awesome. Right here, got a beautiful plant here, another plant there. Yeah, that's been there since the start. I mean, this stuff has too. Most of the art on the wall is new. And what we'll do is we'll check what we got in the kiln, and we'll say, okay, got it. I'm pretty sure we made this the other day. Got it, and cool. There we go. Alright, let's check our plug. Plug it in right there. Everything's golden. We go here. Put the switch on. Wanted to put this in there. Attach this to a slide. Put those there. Give it a minute until it starts saying idle. And then we'll click start, 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 start. Now it's on. And this will take like an hour or so, maybe like, it's like 30 minutes to an hour to heat up. In 30 minutes to an hour is when the video is going to restart. So, bam. Hello everyone, my name is Riley, and this is the RDW Glass YouTube channel. Be sure to tune in every single Tuesday for new glass blowing content. Today, this is our 100th video. Heck yeah. If you guys have been watching all the videos since the start, thank you so much. And if you guys have tuned in recently, thank you so much. I appreciate everybody's support greatly. It has been awesome making all these videos, and I have enjoyed it greatly. And I've enjoyed the questions in the comments and the people who message me on Instagram, because I always say, hey, my Instagram is @RDW_glass. So if you message me there any questions, or if you want to show me pictures of your stuff. So like somebody who's been watching the channel for a while sent me pictures of their stuff, and I was like, hey, do you want to send me some of it and we'll collab? I'll put it on a slide. So I've met people and learned things from people through this YouTube channel that I made to teach people stuff, which is awesome. And today we're doing a little bit of a celebration video, and that's kind of me talking about what's been going on with the studio and how I made the studio. And I also want to share a little bit of like a personal collection, because I don't go into this very much, but shouldn't go into negative things every single video. But my first studio burnt down completely. Like, this is the second studio I've built. My first studio, me and my grandpa built together. It was built off of the side of his shed, and I had a old vintage lamp. And when your kiln goes in and out of power, it goes. Well, if you have a kiln, you know it draws the power, and then it stops. It draws the power, and then it stops. So when that draw of power and stopping of power was happening to I was running everything off an extension cord. So I just had like an extension cord go into my studio. I'm gonna turn the lights off for now. I'm just thinking about multiple electric things being on. So, but those lights are brand new, like proper setups. So, and the plants, they don't touch any of the electrical stuff. So there was a vintage lamp that was old because it's vintage, and it sparked. And I was at the store, me and my grandma were at the store, and my grandpa was at work. So it sparked and a fire started. And by the time, like, my neighbor called us, like, she called me, and I didn't know the number, so I didn't answer at the time because I was shopping. And my grandma had the number, and it was our neighbor that called. And she was like, the side of the fence is like on fire. Like, our neighbor, like, you know, this would be the lining, and you can see where the new fencing began. You can see that this is even though it just got wet, it's lighter, and then this is the old darker stuff. So from here, because my papa's, that's what I call my grandpa, is Papa. That's his shop, shed, at the time completely burnt down. Mine completely burnt down. If you just wait like a few minutes after my after my talk right now, I'm going to show pictures and videos of everything that happened. I'm going to edit it all in. And yeah, that was a crazy situation. Everything burnt down to the ground completely. Like, this whole area was just flat. Like, it was just all burnt. Like, it used to be a whole shop, and then it just burnt. It was crazy. Definitely one of the most traumatic things ever, for sure, because I had that shop. So I started glass blowing in like 2020 of January. I took my first pendant making class at Zen Glass Studio, and that was when I started, obviously. Like a month after that, I took the 25-week class. Oh, I gotta go let the chickens out. So the 25-week class, see, in my morning routine, I felt like starting it with the morning routine. Trailing off. Let's go quick. Do this. That way they don't run out. Alright. It's rainy today. Come on. Hey, what are you doing up here? You wanna jump out? She likes jumping out for some reason. Alright, let's get some food for these chickens. Back it on up. Come on, back up. Oh yeah. The goods. Look, just 2 of those. And the chickens get like whatever food scraps are left over from, leftover food. And they spend most of the day picking through the dirt for bugs. And twice a week I let them out to go into the grass, into the yard, and they go crazy. That's my little setup, and sometimes I do the bottom, but you don't have to. Yeah. So the first studio burnt down to the ground. The reason is because of that lamp, that vintage lamp, and the kiln running. So you're gonna see some pictures and videos of all that stuff. The chili pepper kiln was just like, it was completely black. The fire got so hot that my glass colors all melted together. So think about that. Like, the glass doesn't start coming like melty or morphy until over 1,000 degrees, because we put it in the kiln at 1050 and it doesn't melt together. So this was hotter than 1,000-degree fire, and there were explosions because we had multiple propane tanks around, and there were other just random whatever was exploding other than the propane tanks. It was crazy because when it first started, like once we got back here, everything, all the sheds and everything were just engulfed in flames. And while we were pulling up, you can hear like poof, poof, like just explosions of the propane tanks just exploding. And there was a golf cart that was a gas powered golf cart. That thing went up in complete flames, and like and where the seats were, everything was just blown out. It was insane. That was insane. So many memories and stuff built into that shop, and I had like 10 or 11 pieces that I had already like sold, and I was waiting to ship them out, and so I had to go over and like I could be like, hey, everyone was so amazing during that time. I mean, everyone's always so amazing. They were so helpful. I had somebody who was like, can I give you some money? And then another person, can I give you some money? And then they were like, you need to start a GoFundMe because of like all this and this. And I was like, yeah, I do, because we lost everything. So that is where I'm going to be able to show you in maybe the next part of the video, is the breakdown of all the expenses that went into making this studio. And I also kind of have like a breakdown of a step-by-step on how I made my studio on my Instagram, because on Instagram there's these little things that are called like highlights, and on those I have one that says new beginnings, and that's how I made this new studio, which I put a lot of love into. And I did the stuff, like I fixed all the mistakes that I made on my first studio, not just the electrical stuff, but the way to position things. That was a huge part of it. The way to position things, like when you have something over here that should be over here, it's a big deal. And the first studio, like I said, it was built off of a old shed, and it was running off extension cords, so there was definitely a big problem there. So I know when you're getting started, you don't want to go all the way in, but one of the things that's worth going all the way in on is proper electrical, because if you don't have proper electrical, you could have a fire, and then that completely defeats the whole studio, and then you have to recoup, which is not easy and takes a while. Within like 3 months, I had started building the new studio, because I was like, this is a task from the universe, right? I mean, no matter what, it was a gift in a way, because I got to learn, okay, am I going to be the person who gets defeated by this? Is this going to be the end? Like, my shop burnt down, now no more RDW glass. That was like 3 years ago. And so that was something, I say it's a gift because it taught me like determination, and it showed me like in my life for any other thing that I can't just quit at something that I love when something, even if something devastating happens. Just like start back as small as you can and then work your way back up. And you can see that in the pictures and stuff. Like for months the studio just had, we had the torch and the kiln, and then we started having the paint and money to do any of the other stuff. Like now there's an AC in there, so, and it's properly electrical hooked up. So it's definitely helped me, like, with other things in my life, being like, okay, even like I said, if something devastating happens, you can find a way to work your way back up, which is something that a lot of business people go through. Like you can watch interviews with any business people, like people who own their own businesses and stuff, and they a lot of times they get asked, like, if everything fell apart, could you do it again? And most of the time their answer is, oh, I've had businesses where everything fell apart and I've had to do it again. Which, that just shows you that's the determination you kind of need. And so that's, like, watching those things too is also why I felt more inspired to just say, you know what, this is something that I love and I have to get right back to it. Hell yeah, the kiln's heating up, and I'm gonna go take a shower and eat some breakfast, and that will take some time, and the kiln should be getting warmed up by then, so that's when the video will click back in. See you shortly. It's actually just gonna snap like boop. Alright, showered, fed, got the shirt on now, and I'm walking out to the studio. And we turned the kiln on earlier, so everything's up to temperature. And pop this on the hooks. Alright, something I want to show you guys before I do a glass blowing today. I'm going to show you my notebooks. Let me get a chair over here. Alright, so this was what I wrote out in December of 2021, starting the studio over, the must-purchase stuff. So, we got a 18-inch 14mm straight tube and a 18-inch tag beaker, $320. And here we have $2,900 for glass colors, 2 Smith Littles, those are the mini torches, 2 Y splits, blow hose, glass tools, rods, tubing, more rods, $3,700 for the Red Max starter kit, the GTT Cheetah starter kit, the Paragon kiln, the glass starter kits, the colors, another $1,000 for glass tools and the joints, 14mm, 18mm joints, male and female, and more glass colors, and then around $170 for some movies, Star Wars movies, Tupperwares, studio supplies, and shipping supplies, and I'm pretty sure that was like Walmart, and then $560 on Amazon for supplies. Those two is where we got that. But the money spent, $8,752. And then we have more of a breakdown here. Like, this was the mountain glass purchase, almost $3,000. And it was around Black Friday because the studio situation, the studio burnt down in like November or something. I'm sure, like sometime around November. This was the lampwork supply. This was an Amazon thing because all of my movies wasn't just like my normal work stuff in my studio. I had all my movies, my games, my, the PlayStation, the TV, even an old Xbox, like all types of stuff. That was all like, it was kind of like a storage area too. So I lost all my movies, and I'm a big DVD person, so went back and got a bunch of DVDs. This is showing I spent like almost $600 on shows, movies, some torch lighters, art, shows, a tray, grinder, movie, Futurama, The Office, 70 Show. Ooh, $14 on rug mat, 2 pats. These are awesome. You can use them as cup holders, or you could put your piece right in the middle there. Pretty dope. Yeah. HDMI cord. How'd you get that? And this, yeah. When I clicked that, I was like, that $3,800 almost purchase. It's definitely one of the biggest online purchases I'll read this out. Biggest purchases online I've ever made, and also one of the most helpful purchases I've ever made. This is a purchase to be able to continue doing what I love each day, creating art in a comfortable environment. This purchase got me my new kiln, torch, glasses, tools, and many things that I needed to begin glass blowing. This is when I started building the studio. So that's like $8,000. You saw like $8,000 in stuff for the inside. Now you go to this. So to build the studio, materials are needed, and Lowe's was the cheapest. You'd think Home Depot. You'd think, oh, Home Depot's the lower one because Lowe's has always been like the fancy. Well, it's switched. Home Depot supplies are more expensive than supplies at Lowe's, at least here in my neighborhood. And that switched for Target and Walmart too. Target used to be like the fancy one, and Walmart was where you could get a better price. But now the better prices are at Target, and the stuff's more expensive at Walmart. So, oh yeah, I got rebar for free because of my grandpa being in construction. So some of the, like, you'll see every so often like something that I was able to just get from a construction site. Yes, foundation and floor, that's where it starts. So you need the foam tubes, that's what does the, the up there stuff. But also, like, it sealed stuff in the floor. So foam tubes, 80-pound bags of concrete. I got 10 of those. So you see running my own business, this has helped me get more specific with this, but I've always like tracking everything down and being specific about it. That way I have an understanding of what's going on, because especially with the seizures, sometimes like my mind will just, like, right after the seizures, I don't remember really anything for a while. So it's good to have everything written down. That way I can always go look back at my books and know what's going on. So that's very important to me, having everything tracked. Back to the supplies. So, yep, 36 by 3/8 rebar. So that's the thickness, and then the length. 2x4 concrete pier hangers. So,
what is that? Not sure what those are, but got them. PT beams 2. So that's pretty sure that's maybe what's going across there. 2x6. 10-foot 2x6 joists. 10 of those. Galvanized joist hangers, 28. That's those things. Those joist things. Had to get screws, headlock screws, those are important. Plywood, had to have the plywood. That's what I used to make the deck outside. So just in like those foundation, I said floor and foundation, so like that was around $730. I say around, but it was pretty much exactly these prices because the change I just rounded up to the nearest thing. Like if it was a $11 thing, I put $11 and whatever cents, I put 12, and the 40, I always added one more dollar. So this was $47 and something, and so I did, oh well, that's $12. So yeah, you get what I'm saying. Wall forming. So this is what I was saying. This is what I was like saying earlier, is that this is a very good breakdown of exactly how I did it. So I know it's like almost $11,000, but, and this is doing it on like a professional, like on a professional level too. We got the super good kiln and the torch and everything. So back to the wall. So you got 16-foot 2x4s, 8-foot 2x4s. That's for like the rear wall, and then the side walls. 10-foot 2x4s, 8-foot 2x4s. Yeah, so I did whatever little maths and pricings. Oh yeah, the plywood. That's so you see up here the 3/4 of an inch plywood. So that was what I had on the deck. Now you see we got the outside wood, and then this was a 1/2 of an inch 4x8 plywood, and that's what we used for the walls all around. And that was about $711. So the total so far for building the studio right now is, that's the kind of the studio dimension, 16-foot by 10-foot, if you're wondering too. Yeah, so right now we're at like $1,441 for the studio thing. Needed to complete the project was, I got the drill sets, screws, drill bits, skill saw, jigsaw, duct tape, nail gun, sanders. They're crossed off because I made a list of the things I needed, and I crossed them off as I got them. New studio steps. Yeah, flatten the ground and create a 20-foot by 14-foot sectioned off for my workspace. Buy the floor materials, create the elevated floor, dig holes for concrete pillars, place foam tubes in the holes. Place form tube in holes and fill with concrete. Oh, yeah. So you can put this little forming tube into the ground, and then you just fill that with concrete, and you put the pillar in there. Build a box, square off 16 feet by 10 feet, and use joists. Hangers to build 10-foot joists across the 16-foot beams. Lay plywood across box and screw in to finish the floor. Yeah, these are like little step-by-step. So this was just to get you started. This is how you start. This is what I did. I did the floor, and then Studio 2.0. buy the wall materials, and then create walls. So, yeah, buy floor materials. That's the, I'm going to probably put an underline there. Buy walls and materials to create walls. Put an underline there. So build the front wall and add a door and fan holes. Build a side wall facing the house, because I didn't want the entrance facing the house. I wanted the entrance facing out. Build a back wall, and then build the last side wall. I built all the walls, and then I had my grandpa help me hold them up while I screwed them into place. Most of this I built entirely myself. Add windows. Add a window to the one wall. That's the window. 2x6 on top of the front wall as a shelf before top window. Oh, yeah. There's a shelf up there. 2x6 on top of the front wall, yep. Cut out the fans. Place shelves in between the wall framing. Yeah, that's like, so the wall framings, and that's the... So some people, they'll put, plywood on the outside and the inside. Now, not only does that mean you're buying double the plywood, but you're defeating this pretty cool feature that if you... Because that's how you form the wall, You do the square, and then you put the things in between it. The basically joists in between it. And then what you can do here is you can use the wall forming to put shelving. Pretty freaking cool, right? Placed outside walling around after the roof. And I did that because I wanted to be able to climb in and out and go. Oh, hi. Hey, Strawberry. Oh, hey, baby. Yeah, I wanted to be able to climb in and out and just access the roof however I needed to, so I decided to put the roof on after I put on the outside walls. Put on the roof before I did the outside walls. Buy roofing materials and create a roof. So you put a rafter every 16 inches, screw down the metal roofing panels. Cut plywood to fit the shape. That's the outside shape. You could see the plywood that I cut to fit that. And then put plexiglass in. So that's the plexiglass that we talk about. Like when we're out here late at night and the moon starts to shine through there, it's really awesome. But during the day, in the middle of the day, when the sun starts to shine through there, it kind of sucks because it can hit you right in the face, and it's hard to work when there's sun directly in your eyes. Directly in your eyes. Buy the furniture. So we had to get tables, fans, chairs, got a beanbag, TV, and the game system, of course. Hook up electricity. To complete studio, I must seal everything, seal off the plexiglass, secure the roof down, make sure you seal any sunspots. That's kind of what I was talking about in the video where you could see the sun coming through. That was a perfect indication of, everything not being sealed. But shelf for DVDs, 2x6 shelf for the Ryobi tools. That's section for the 18mm and 14mm joints. Seal ground door. Self-seal around the door. Create spot for air colors. Drill spots for oxygen and propane hoses to go through the wall. Seal those spots where the hoses go through. Put in a vent. There is that for a vent, that for a vent, that for a vent, and then obviously the main two fans. Build a deck outside the studio. You seen I did that. Build a garden. Oh, yeah, putting things into place. More storage drawers. That's those. Do a table for the kiln. That's that situation. do a DVD player, yeah. Storage box with drawer, showed that. Build the deck outside, build the garden outside, paint the studio, fix a leak in the roof. We had a leak in the roof, I had to fix that. Yeah, this was me drawing things out. And yeah. There was things that I had to buy, the fans, the drill bits, things that I wanted to build, like slide holders, the ramp, area for the garden walkway. Looks like I have slider holders and slide holders. Hemp tubes, the kiln table, all that stuff is built. Cat walkway to the high window. I want to do something to that window. I still haven't done that. Oh, I mean, kinda. That was the point of... Okay. Seal the roof. Ladder to the roof, that's outside. Titan stem. Circle mats, large mats, opals. Oh yeah. This is... Alright. So this is my life book. So I right after the building the studio, it goes right to gotta have some random sayings. You know, that's good to have some good sayings in there. You know, might as well show that a little bit. Random stuff. Oh yeah, how to market glass. A YouTube channel. Online, websites, Instagram, in-person events. Sales team is a expense. That will bring more funding if you're able to make enough things to have a sales team. I am not the best at selling. I could get better. I just don't want to dedicate the time to that. Wow. And I can not be one platform. Sell on multiple platforms. Yep. This was something important. I was just flipping through the pages. So the RDW Glass LLC is a thing that I did, and here's a little reasoning. Makes it a fully functioning company, and also, you know, it sets in stone federal tracking, though, and if your company gets sued, you get sued if it's a sole proprietor. You get sued personally. Income goes right to 1044. This is what a sole proprietor is. You must pay self-employment taxes. Personally exposed to liability, your home car, that can all get taken from you if you're just a sole proprietor, a style company. If you're a seed corporation or an S corp, it's a corporation that elects to be taxed as a pass-through entity, and income losses, deductions, and credit flow through the shareholders. So everything goes through the shareholders and partners or members, and they then report this to the personal tax return. It's like a little C corporation, do a little sketchy stuff in there. But yeah, the best way to go is an LLC, for sure. A little clip. I used these colors. So you got right off the start, you know, blue stardust, green stardust, blue UV, nova UV, pink UV, secret white, dragon's blood, grizzly brown, china white, aqua blue, forest green, pink lollipop, purple lollipop, blue slime, north star yellow, synergy UV, synergy CFL, caramel, Nemo blue, blue moonshine, pink Cadillac, sunset slime, a CFL color, amber purple, atomic blue stardust, black, glow stick, yellow, Haterade, Parallax, CFL, slime, orange, periwinkle blue, pink slime, cobalt blue, locust, light blue stardust, honey, rosé, sea slime, rose quartz, pineapple juice. This is kind of what I was saying. Even in my life book, I have things like this, like, you know, 'tis the season. Kind of, it's just so I remember these things, because like I said, after a seizure my brain gets kind of shaken, and even stuff as simple as this just gets completely knocked out. High strawberry, star sighting, you know. Some people will be like, wouldn't your cat knock things off? She doesn't do that. She's very good. Something like this, too. Like, just having this stuff. And that stuff definitely helps revamp the memory. Strawberry! Alright, let's see what we got here. Let's get the lights turned on, fans turned on. Alright. So, what I do is I grab this here. That puts that where it needs to be. This goes back here for now. I don't have that in the way all the time. It doesn't mess with me now at this point. It used to mess with me being in front of me, but it doesn't mess with me now. You can see drill spots. It used to be over here, but now it's over there. I go in and out of one hole now. Wahaha. But yeah. So that goes like that, or that. I'm thinking more and more about getting something new. Just maybe being able to find a better angle. But let me know if you guys like the angle that this is at. Yeah. Oh, you know what? I almost forgot what I wanted to make today, because this video is covering a lot. It's video number 100. So I felt like it'd be cool to tell a little bit about, you know, my story more. You get to see that crazy thing that happened to my old studio, and then I felt like it'd be nice to make a pendant that says 100, or hashtag 100, like number 100, and I'll sell that on my Instagram, and I'll make sure in the description it's like, this is the pendant I made on my 100th episode of YouTube. And I'm kind of trying to think like if I should write YouTube number 100, YouTube video number 100, but I feel like just the hashtag 100 or number 100 would be, I feel like whoever gets it would wear number 100 a lot more than YouTube video number 100. Maybe number 100 and then RDW on the other side. I'll come up with something. We'll see how it feels when we're flowing on the torch. This is the entrance to my old studio. I say old studio because I've had 2 studios. Sadly, my first studio went up in flames. Luckily, I have some videos and a few pictures of what the old studio used to look like. But this was my old studio, and this whole studio is no more. Um, this next little clip right here is just another clip of inside that studio. I just had some tables and workstations, the kiln. You'd see that chili pepper kiln. Now here's the flames. So this is what ended up happening to the studio. We had a vintage lamp, and that vintage lamp sparked while the kiln was going, because the kiln draws power and it kind of goes in and out, and that made the vintage lamp spark. And when the vintage lamp sparked, that created a fire, and the fire just continued because none of us were home. So our neighbor called us, and we rushed home, and well, I went to my neighbor's house, and I sat there and I recorded from their treehouse. I just sat in their treehouse and watched my creations go to the ground. It was so sad. And the fire people showed up, and they hosed the whole entire area down. It wasn't just my shop either. It was my studio, and my studio was attached to my grandfather's shed, which he had for years. So there was just tons of memories lost, and really, really crappy situation. So please be careful with your electrical hookups. And this is some of the aftermath. You could see the tanks were completely toasted. Everything was exploding. All the propane tanks we had exploded. My mom and sister just kind of helping sift through all the crap. It was crazy. Everything just went completely to the ground. That's the chili pepper kiln. It literally toasted. Those are trays, because I used to collect little cool trays whenever I'd go to smoke shops. Those are completely toasted. This is some of the glass that I had on my table that we would use. These are tools. I mean, look how gross the tools got. Everything just
This is what
toasted.
this is what happened to most of my colors.
It was so hot, all the glass colors melted together. That's what that tells you. It has to, at thousands of degrees. Oh my god, so hot. So hot. Those are, once again, the pieces that I was able to kind of save, but really I had to throw a lot of that away because it was just charred. And you could see, even if I soaked some of it in alcohol, I was able to sell very few pieces. I genuinely had to start all the way back over. Toothbrush, trying to scrape off some of the crap, but a lot of them I couldn't. Right here you see tree people, because the tree got burnt all up on half of it. So we had to have these tree cutting people come cut down branches. They actually chopped that tree that they're cutting down in half. So it's pretty cool. I'll show it later on in the video, the tree and do a walk out. But yeah, and it took me a while, but I was able to build my own studio, and my grandpa got his own shop right next to it. This is the inside of the studio, halfway through me setting everything up. You see, this was what the outside looked like after I had most of it built. That's the side view, and then the next one's a back view, just so you guys can get an idea of what my studio looks like, and maybe an idea of how to build yours. We had two tables, we have two tables. You can see that's the inside. You see there's some light coming through at the top in those areas. I filmed that up. That's a deck that I wanted to build outside the studio, and then that is the deck with the tank sitting on top of it. And then that's the inside, developing it a little more. You could see it's not just two fans and tables. Now there's some stuff. That's Buddy the cat. He passed away, but he was always hanging out in the studio with me. That's him again. He was always hanging out in the studio with me and taking pictures of the glass with me. Good cat. This is me heating the kiln up for the first time.
Got the kiln heating up for the first time.
You can see I went from that chili pepper kiln to this kiln.
Oh,
that was something that was interesting, is because all of my first wave of equipment got washed away. I kind of upgraded to the big boys. I had the Red Max torch. Oh, look, there's Buddy. See what I'm saying? He was always with me. He was a good cat. That was the first time the kiln's on, and Buddy the cat's in there with me. Trailing off about my cat, I miss him. But yeah, this was me just hanging out in the studio. We got Friday on in the background. I built a ramp up to my deck. because I knew that we were going to do a whole entire concrete walkway along the path, so I knew that it'd be cool to just add a concrete ramp up to the deck that I built. And that was also so I'd be able to roll the oxygen and propane tanks, or roll the oxygen tanks. You can carry a propane tank. And you can see that's another outside view. And that's an inside view of the multi-purpose table with some plants underneath it. This right here is my table. That's Strawberry Shortcake. You see her in the videos every so often. She was hanging out in the studio there. That's Milkshake. That's him in the studio. I'll show you guys the cats hanging out in the studio. This is, pretty sure that's when we had both torches on for the first time in there. So I turned down That's Melanie, again, painting. Painting the outside, because remember it was wood, now it's all blue. That's Strawberry Shortcake just having fun in the studio. Luckily the kiln, nothing's on, so she's able to run around. That was our neighbor putting in proper electricity, because you need proper electricity. Don't go doing the studio without proper electricity. It's very dangerous. See, he hooked up like light switches and actual plugs rather than me just running an extension cord into a room and then going little slits off of it. So now I have, proper electrical hookups, which is needed because I don't want to burn down another shop again. Bam, electricity. And this is, this is me just showing that there's electrical running all the way back and forth, and then kind of walking outside and showing the electrical box too. I was really happy to, he's still working on it. I was really happy to have that. That's, me and my family hanging out in the studio. It's my 3 brothers and my sister. That's just a nice little head-on photo of my torch, and you can see there's barely any stickers on my fan hood, and now it's freaking covered. But that's pretty cool to see the little first stickers I had on there. Yep. Shows and movies and stuff. Oh, Nemo Toad and the Reefer movie, or that Reefer Madness propaganda. Right there you have the Y splits, and that's how you hook up your mini torch. There you see the oxygen and the propane tanks with some plants on top of it. That's me selling my glass at a festival. Getting back to it, that's my art studio. This was me showing how my colors are displayed now. I kind of have them in PVC pipes that I painted. That's painting the multi-purpose table there. Give it a nice coat. That's my grandparents hanging out outside the studios and the shops. That is, you see, you got to have whiteboards in your studio, and then, some tools and whatnot. Another kind of photo of what the multi-purpose table looks like. There's a mirror there. Tools, tape, more goodies and whatnot. It's me preparing to make a full-size tube there. Got an opal on the tube. It's kind of hard to notice. That's some plants that we had around the studio, and when this studio was first built. That's Milkshake walking along the fence. Sometimes you gotta walk the line to get what you want. This is a tray that I made out of resin and my logo sticker. Just felt like I'd throw that in there. So here, that's in between the 2 shops, the studio and the shed, and that's where we had some herbs and whatnot. That's a monarch butterfly just flying around some of the milkweed. If you have a garden, definitely plant milkweed, because that plant attracts monarch butterflies, and they're an endangered butterfly. So that's in between the studios again. You can see some nice herbs and whatnot. That is, I was working on building like a taffy tube kind of roller, and that's my version of it. If you go to my Instagram, you can actually see the whole breakdown of how I created that. And you can see the breakdown of how I created my studio a lot more pictures. Oh yeah, you gotta have catnip if you have cats. That's Strawberry, Sushi, and Buddy all hanging out. When we got home that night, we found him in bed asleep with the money. Give him some catnip and they roll around. That's one of my collections from the garden at the time. Here's like a cool little mushroom hemp holder statue that I made. Here's like a clip of... See, that's my Instagram. I post stuff there all the time. You guys should definitely go check that out. This is a UV slide that I made a while back. And that's the door to the studio. This is going to be probably the most clipped up video I've ever done, because I'm just adding clip after clip after clip after clip. That's okay. Most of my videos, I do them straight through and no script, which is awesome because it's just natural. It's whatever's flowing, which we're going to do that pendant right now. Alright. Feeling good. Switch the camera. I wonder how long this video is going to end up being. For all I know, I might end up talking more at the end. Glasses. Ooh, gotta wipe those babies down. Always wipe your glasses down, but also like here too. Because you have like grease that'll build up behind your ears and like in here, the grease that's on your nose. Make sure you wipe that stuff off, because that'll help with acne and behind the ear acne too. Alright. Nice and wiped down. Oh man. Thought about like smoking more, or like smoking in general on the channel, but I think that little, just the noises is good enough. Let's say cheers and whatnot. Let's do that real quick. Let's say cheers for the video 100. I always talk about how I'm an entrepreneur, but I've also tried like different little stations before, like when WeedTube was a thing. I definitely tried to do a little channel, and like I had like an intro and outro on those too, which is awesome. Hope everybody's having a great day, staying safe. Cheers to all the smokers, the jokers, tokers, and the provokers. Be sure to stay hydrated. Video 100. Cheers, everybody. Sorry about the coughing. It is a family tradition. Don't ask me why. I don't know if you've ever heard Family Tradition by Hank Williams Jr., but that's an awesome song. Said, don't ask me, Hank, why do you drink? Hank, why do you roll smoke? Why must you live out the songs that you wrote? I told him, stop and think it over. Put yourself in my unique position. If I get stoned and sing all night long, it's a family tradition. Beautiful song. If you like country or not, country or like rock. And you know, Hank Williams Jr., yes, Jr., because his dad, Hank Williams, is actually the one who was making those songs like, I mean, the hey, good looking. What you got cooking? How's about cooking something up for me? Well, yeah, definitely check out Hank Williams Jr. if you're into like country, that cool country, that Johnny Cash country. Hank Williams Jr. Definitely gotta shout the dude out. Starting with a 12mm rod. We're gonna take that 12mm rod and we're gonna flatten it out. Not sure if that's still called a Maria, because a Maria is when you flatten something in the middle and you get a kind of a chip in the middle. Not a chip.
a coin in the middle. Alright, let's flatten this baby out. You know what? I think we might need a little bit more material than that to write 100. Maybe, who knows? I'm going to gather more material. I want it to be a larger space. Ooh, video 100. It's crazy. I've definitely enjoyed making the videos. Right from the start. Definitely. You can see my confidence in the way I'm talking through the videos get so much better. I'm definitely proud of how much better I've gotten at just flowing with the video and being okay. You'll see sometimes still, like when I'm doing something precise, my hands still shake because I'm like, if I mess this up, I'm going to have to edit a whole new one in. Oh yeah, that's a nice coin right there. We'll call them coins instead of chips. Oh, we got something from the table on there. Uh-oh. Gotta get that off. Have a clean space, Riley. Clean space. Alright, where's that little... I don't know what the hell that is. That's better. Alright. Cool. I'm going to flatten it out even more with the first method we used. Now that we have even more material and it's nice coin shape. Heck yeah, I hope everybody enjoys watching these videos. And I want to get more messages on Instagram, that way I can collab with more of you guys if you're down. Collaborating is fun. I've collaborated with a few artists, and most of them are local, because I mean it just makes, like that's kind of the first artist that you'll meet. How I ended up getting in contact with one of the local artists was I made RDW glass business cards, and I left them at the oxygen place, well the place I go to get oxygen, and it has my Instagram on there, and somebody ended up, a glass blower who goes to the same place to get the oxygen, they saw my card and they ended up following me and saying, hey, I'm a local artist too, or I'm a local Florida artist, you down to collab? So it's really cool. It's cool connecting with people with similar hobbies, because it's better than connecting with people you got nothing in common with. That's the cool thing about having stuff in common with people, is that you start having a conversation topic, and then you go into stuff that you guys don't have in common, and you teach each other stuff, or teach each other stuff about the stuff that you have in common. Alright, so my idea is to do an implosion with the 100 around it. But remember, we'd be reading it backwards, so 100, but I guess if you flip it, well, no matter how you turn it, trying to think about what writing. You gotta be careful doing your writing with striking colors, because it could blur it out, but I'm pretty sure this. I think black would be the best. Hashtag 100 or 100. Number.
shaky. Kind of what I was talking about moments ago. Alright, I think I need to use this a little thinner. Turn my flame down a little bit too. That's okay. Oh, number sign. Little messy.
Ooh, it's kind of cool. It just looks like a paint drippy one. Hashtag.
Cool. I'm cool with that. More black. I don't know if I like that. What's crazy is I don't think I like the hashtag on there. It's not just because of how it came out. Also spacing wise. Let's see.
That's number 10 is what would fit there. Alright. Let's get that off there.
Let's do this.
And I'll do something with that later. I'll make that some type of cool implosion. That way we don't waste the material. Somebody asked, and I answered it in the comments too, but why do we coat it with the black? Well, that is coats the piece in heat. That way it can kind of stay hot and hopefully prevent a crack. We'll see. I don't want to mess with that now. We'll take this fresh one. And here we go.
Stuff happens and I don't really feel like
Taking that out of there because you guys can see that. I always take the top layer off just because it could have some
little bit of who have yous and whatnots on it. And trying to get this baby fixed.
Help prevent the mistake we made on the first one. The first mistake we made on the first one. could also do implosions on hollow, just a little node. I like doing it on solid most of the time. So what I'm going to do is let this implode a little bit first. Then we're going to add some of the Blue Hurricane. Oh, heck yeah. Perfect. Glad I decided to do it out of the Twisted Cane. You know, my precision of glass or writing on the glass, I don't think it's precise enough yet to be able to write out a whole word in that small area. I'd have to make it a lot bigger of an area, and then of course it shrinks down when you condense it. Point is kind of letting the glass all melt together and come in on itself in the middle. And the reason why you move the heat up the rod at all is so you can get more material down into that. And if you don't need more material, then just keep heating up underneath like this. And level out your gravity, of course. We got a little bit of a wonkiness to our situation. Okay. I'm gonna do a second layer of dots too to really drive home the background. Oh, this is gonna come out so cool. You can kind of see it from this side. It's gonna look really cool.
cool when you see how you came to where you finished for the round of pain. You played very finishing, but to a fighting position.
Sorry, I'm not talking much. getting into making the pendant. See a cool design it's coming out to be. Very happy with the way this turned out. Right now I gotta round off the back. I may even put a background color on it. Let's see. Alright. Alright. Doing a little punchy. might have imploded it a little bit too much, but it's okay. Oh no, I just smushed it. What do you think? I'm thinking that that doesn't even look like an 100. I'm thinking that that is not what I want it to be. Look at this. Third try is about to be a charm. You can't really see the 100 or tell that it's an 100, which that really sucks, but that's okay. What we'll do is we'll blur the 100 just kind of like we did with the other piece, and we'll do something different with it. There we go. It's looking cool. Okay. I really have to make a solid 100 pendant right now. Mission is a go. Hydrate. Number 3, I think I'll be able to get it. zeros have enough space in between them. Video 100, and it took me 3 tries to make a pendant that says 100. It's okay. This is my first time on a torch today, so I'll give myself that excuse. The light center. Take a little bit of glass off the top, maybe. That's good. I'm just gonna round it off naturally. Let's make a loop. Got a blue UV here. Nailed that loop. Let's not ruin the loop now that it's on there.
for a sec. Video 100 and a 100 pendant. Yeah. Look at it. Cool. 100. Alright. Now let's safely put this.
Well, folks, that was video 100. I hope you enjoyed all of the mixed in content. And I'm sorry that it took me 3 tries to make one pendant. And I hope that you guys are okay with me putting the mess ups in. But if you're not, to make the video shorter, I don't have to put those mess ups in. I just figured, you know, not only do I not have to edit it, but then, you know, you guys kind of see, no matter how long you're doing it, there's still, you're gonna mess up. And like, you know, warming up is always a good thing before you do a project that's important. So like before you start making something that's important, just kind of warm up on some stuff so you don't end up you know, making taking 3 tries before you get a pendant. But heck yeah, this is video 100, and I feel like it was very celebratory because I was able to go over how I started my glass studio and whatnot. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I should add to this video. I don't know. This feels like a good ending place. It's actually 1:01. So, 1:01 p.m. So, that's a cool ending time. Alright. Stay safe, everyone. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you're going to be part of the next 100. And then we get to celebrate a 200 video. And I don't know what that's going to be like. Oh, here, look at my neighbor's sunflowers. Doing amazing. Look at how crazy those sunflowers are doing. It's like a tower. They're taller than me. It's got a mini sunflower field patch right there. So, I hope that also this video, see, I was doing my outro and then got restarted thinking. I hope this video kind of like inspires people to do proper electrical hookups with their studio, because it's very dangerous running, you know, equipment like kilns and, you know, old lamps and stuff when, you know, when you're on extension cords. It's not a good idea, and you just want to be careful with what you add in your studio, and make sure you take pictures of everything, because you never know. And alright, stay safe, everybody. Happy melting. Peace, guys.